world was young, the mountains green, no stain yet on the moon was seen.
Then with a crash came a great ringing shout. Ra, boom, ra.
3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the dark lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie.
Talking about Tolkien, man.
It's talking about Tolkien, Nate.
Final chapter of book 5 of book 3 of the Lord of the Rings trilogy plus Hobbit quadrilogy. Ben.
The Lord of the Rings is a trilogy. The Hobbit does not make it a quadrilogy.
I'm still going to allow it.
Or a tetralogy.
I guess we'll add the Silmarillion in.
Different books. It's different sagas. Just because the sagas happen, in chronological order doesn't mean they're all parts of the same saga, unless
everything's
in some way all books are
connected.
Yeah, parts of the same saga. But yeah, it's the Black Gate opens. And this is the amazing chapter
10, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really, I want to say it's more than halfway through the book because much of this is the appendices.
Well, yeah, and spoilers. 3 chapters from now, the ring is gone. And then there's still 7 chapters after that.
Yeah, so this is going to be an interesting one. This feels like the ending of an era when they destroy this ring.
This feels like You know how, I feel like that the previous ends to the books were, you definitely wanted more. They weren't entirely satisfying, but they kind of wrap things up. This one's just kind of like, he's dead. The end. On to book 6.
It does end on a cliffhanger. So I think part of the challenge for anyone at coming to these books, maybe it's been enough time since the movies that people they know there's little guys in a ring, but maybe they don't know the whole story. But when I was growing up, man, I didn't know anybody who didn't already know at least the beats. And so I was trying to imagine
obnoxious about it. Why didn't the Eagles just fly the ring in the morning?
Well, I was trying to imagine.
I don't know. Why did God create sin? Fuck you. Stop asking stupid questions.
He didn't create sin. You did when you stopped listening to him.
Yeah, there you go. Why did he give me the ability to do that?
Because he respected you.
Well,
he was wrong to do so. No, I was thinking of what would it be like coming to it as intended for the first time like this? The last book ended with Frodo getting captured. You have no idea what's happened since. You open up with these wars, and you're finally coming back to it, and you've probably been speculating, is Frodo dead? Is Sam taking the ring on his own now? Could Sam rescue Frodo? I mean, there's a lot to wonder about. But yeah, so it opens up. The armies of Gondor are assembling on the Pelennor fields. The Easterlings and the orcs have been scattered. And they're getting ready to march off. And Aragorn's having a conversation with Merry.
I love this conversation too.
If you remember in the movies, I like to point out the difference. Merry and Pippin both go to the Black Gate together.
Oh, I did not remember that. I thought neither of them went.
No, they're the first ones that Aragorn runs out. He says for Frodo. And then he runs out and charges, and then Merry and Pippin are the first ones behind him, and they're quickly overtaken by every other human who starts like 50 meters after them. It's a funny scene. It's a heartwarming scene. Pippin's the one that says the eagles are coming. Merry's there when the volcano explodes, and he's like, Frodo! And then they start crying when they realize a volcano just exploded where Frodo's standing. So it's a touching moment. But in the book, it's a little different, as it always is.
Yeah.
Aragorn's talking to Merry, and he says, you are not going. You are still recovering. I think we both know that you can't move your right hand from the miasma and the black breath poisoning. And, Mary's like, no, I can do it. Am I doing it? Is it moving? And it's not moving. So, no, he's going to have to sit this one out. And he says, but don't worry. Well, he doesn't say don't worry.
Here's the part. Yeah, he doesn't say. Well, I paraphrase with "don't worry," but it's.
I'll read it.
Yeah.
So he says, "Do not be ashamed. If you do no more in this war, you have already earned great honor. Peregrine shall go and represent the Shire folk." And Mary's like, "Christ, no!" But do not grudge him his chance of peril, Mary. For though he has done as well as his fortune allowed him, he has yet to match your deed. Killing the Witch King with Eowyn. But in truth, all now are in like danger. Though it may be our part to find a better end before the gate of Mordor, if we do so, then you will come also to a last stand, either here or wherever the black tide overtakes you. Farewell.
What an uplifting speech. Thank you.
I would like to point out.
Don't worry. Hey, we're going to get our last stand, but if that happens, you're going to get yours. So
I don't know if this exactly happened this way, but because the next paragraph, it could be Merry remembering Aragorn telling that to him, or it could be Aragorn telling that to him, right now. But it then immediately cuts to Merry standing despondently with Beargill, the child of Pippin's guard friend, who is also getting that same news because his father's going to have to go with the host because he's not allowed back into the guard because he still has a pending trial for murdering a bunch of the guards to stop them from burning Faramir. So the little kid's telling Merry, don't worry. They have the Lord Elfstone and Baragond of the guard, too. He's worth at least 3 guards. We found that out yesterday.
Yeah. So they're not departing with 6,000 men. They're departing with 6,003.
Yes. Over 6,000 men. So by noon, they make it to Osgiliath, which in the movie is like a 5-minute horse ride away. But they're moving a lot of guys, so it's pretty good. In maybe a petty example of evil providing the means of its own destruction, they're rebuilding and reinforcing all the bridges and ferries that the Easterling army built to get across that they're going to now use for their army to get across. They are trumpeting everywhere they go.
Yeah, they are.
Maybe I'll put in the toasters one more time. Somebody actually commented on the YouTube video that there was a horn and I didn't put the toasters in. And I was so proud of this goddamn audience. So maybe I'll give it one last blow. But they're saying the Lords of Gondor have returned. It's our land. Fight us. And then they pull out their shield and they're like, okay, well, they're not going to fight us. Okay, and they keep walking.
I think it's fight us or fuck off and go away. But it's ours. Yeah.
But it's suspiciously silent.
Yes,
they're not giving any. Nobody's stopping them.
They do change to later say King Elisar instead of the Lords of Gondor.
At Imrahil's suggestion.
Yeah.
He's he's not coronated yet, but that'll piss him off.
More attention. Yeah, it'll piss him off a lot more. Get more attention. Now they go to the crossroads, Ben.
They go to the crossroads. They find that's where the statue of the old king is.
That Frodo saw. Yeah.
Yep. And they undo all the stuff the orcs did to deface it. And they have craftsmen like repair it, put the king's head back on. Now, in their debate, a couple of people said, why don't we attack that Minas Morgul first? It's less defended, still offers us a way into Mordor. Would be easier to take than a giant black gate with no siege engines or catapults or anything. We're actually just a bunch of guys with swords. There's actually no way we're getting through that gate. So what if we took Minas Morgul?
And no one was like, I don't think you understand the assignment. We're not here to win.
Gandalf spoke against it. He told them, that valley, the evil that dwells in that valley, where the minds of living men would turn to madness and horror. We can't fight it there. Also, Imrahil, come here. Smacks him. He's like, I'm trying to distract him from Frodo in the ring, and that's the direction the ring went. He also had that thought about not getting through a giant gate. Okay, so we're going to the gate. Stop suggesting shit in front of the men, Imrahil. And they ride on, and they pass the Morgul Vale, or they pass the turnoff to the Morgul Vale. I was kind of
burn the bridge.
They burn the bridge.
Yeah.
And again, nobody's challenging them. It's been 3 days.
And Minas Morgul itself was pretty silent.
100 miles into enemy territory, and not one person has challenged them. So they're sending out scouts to the north, south, west, and especially east. And they do notice that there is a force of orcs and Easterlings attempting to ambush them in the exact same place where Faramir ambushed the Easterlings before. And thanks to their scouting, they're able to take that out pretty easily. And Aragorn suspects it's a feint to draw them closer in.
Ha, joke's on you. We were going in anyway.
But then as they really get into Mordor, they come to the place where life sort of ceases to exist. They come to the place where it's just blasted lands and slag and oily puddles. A lot of the men, especially some men of Rohan who are very far from home, they start to despair. They start to talk about, running away. And this is actually a very interesting bit for Aragorn's character and the kind of king he's going to be. Aragorn looked at them, and there was pity in his eyes rather than wrath. For these were young men from Rohan, from the Westfold far away, or husbandmen from Lossarnach. And to them Mordor had been from childhood a name of evil, and yet unreal, a legend that had no part in their simple life. And now they walked like men in a hideous dream made true. And they understood not this war, nor why fate should lead them to such a pass. And Aragorn could kill them for cowardice, which is what would happen in a Norse saga. But this isn't a Norse saga. This is where we see Aragorn, he does things a little different. He's an effective manager. Go, he said, but keep what honor you may, and do not run. And there is a task which you may attempt, and so be not wholly shamed. Take your way southwest till you come to Caer Andros, and if that is still held by enemies, as I think, then retake it if you can, and hold it to the last in defense of Gondor and Rohan. And then some, being shamed by his mercy, overcame their fear and went on. And others took new hope, hearing of a manful deed within their measure that they could turn to, and they departed. Now he is under 6,000.
I thought he was just slightly over, even after they were turned away.
It was with less than 6,000 that the captains of the West...
Less than 6,000. How can he even?
So I really like that though. And I kind of wonder if some of this, again, I can only speculate, this coming from a guy who has actual experience in war and a guy who has sympathy for the people who are just like not able to do it. Like you're going to fight Satan himself. And to be honest, if you really are already that scared, when the Nazgul start flying and the monsters come out of the gate, it's not going to get better. So we can either berate these guys, kill them, waste a bunch of human life, or we can acknowledge that these are just kids who got called up to service because they were big enough to hold a spear. Since this is a suicide mission anyway, we can there's a room for a little mercy here. We could give them a mission that still allows them to be useful and maybe save a little bit of their dignity. And I think in that one stroke, like he shows that he's going to be a good king. He's earning the loyalty of all these guys, giving them an out. If we survive this, I got to imagine they're his forever. So
Yeah.
I think that's a underrated move from Aragorn. We don't see it in the movies. They don't really have time. Also, they don't show up with anything like 6,000 in the movies. There's like 50 in the movie. There's like 50 dudes. And they come to the Black Gate.
Yeah. We're here.
We're here.
Now, I think I already figured this out, but I want to hear what you have to say. So there's Cirith Ungol, which has something to do with Ungoliant. I mean, there's a giant spider there. What is Cirith Gorgor?
Oh.
Or Gogor? I have a thought that crossed my mind yesterday when I came across it.
Okay, what is your thought?
Isn't there like a field of Gogoroth or something in Mordor itself? Could it be referring to that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely... So the Cirith is always the ravine. It's the crevice. So I think it's the ravine prior to that. And I am looking it up now. Cirith Gorgor means the haunted pass.
Ah.
And the fields of Gorgoroth.
The haunted pass?
Haunted. No, we're not doing that anymore. So the Nazgul are all sitting on the gate. And they know that there's just a bunch of shit behind the gate. They can sense it. This exact line is in the movie. Aragorn rides up and, Viggo Mortensen. I always remember this line in the movie because I don't know where Viggo Mortensen is from. Is he American?
I don't know.
He has a strange accent. Like flawless English, but
He was born in New York.
Okay.
But his father's Danish, his mom's American. He also had some time growing up in Argentina in addition to New York. And then he worked as a florist and a truck driver in Scandinavia before trying acting. So he's American and we claim him. He's ours.
Aragorn's American. I think that was obvious from the story.
Who else is due to be king?
He'd be so pissed.
The
true West, right here.
Yep. Sorry.
Numenor was North America, confirmed. No. There's Viggo Mortensen. He doesn't really try to do a British accent for Aragorn.
That's good. I'm okay with that.
In the movie, he says this line. He says, "Let the Lord of the Black Land come forth, so that justice shall be done upon him." And the way he says it in the movie is like I for that moment I was like, "Where the hell are you from?" He's like, "Let the Lord of the Black Land come forth."
Let the Lord of the Black Land come forth.
It's such a weird line delivery. I'm sure I'm the only one who cares about this. But anyway, that's what he says. He says, "Let the Lord of the Black Land come forth. Justice shall be done upon him. For wrongfully he has made war upon Gondor and wrested its land. As if there's ever a rightful way."
Hey.
And therefore, because you wrongfully made war on me, had you rightly made war on me, we could talk. But because you wrongfully made war on
You're
me,
supposed to send a declaration. You're supposed to first go to international arbitration. You didn't do that.
Shouting on from the top of the gate, it's a police action. He's like, come on out and fight me. 1v1. Let's go.
Yeah.
Sauron could just open the gate and send out his army, but he's being a little...
Let's treat first.
Being a little petty Betty.
Yeah. It's funnier this way. Let's treat first.
The gate was thrown open, and out of it there came an embassy from the Dark Tower. At its head, this is, I don't think this scene is in the theatrical release of Return of the King, but there is a Mouth of Sauron scene in the extended editions. And it's this monster that is like just a mouth and a hat. And it smiles.
Is that not what you thought the Mouth of Sauron was?
It's very clearly a guy in the book.
I think I saw a meme where they took the eye of Sauron, they shrank it down to, they made two eyes, they took the mouth out of the mouth of Sauron, and then they pasted both of them over the body of Sauron from the War of the Last Alliance.
Oh boy. Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, there.
Well, that guy,
the horse is the scary
was that guy
thing.
an orc?
What guy?
The Mouth of Sauron in the movie.
I guess the Mouth of Sauron in the movie is supposed to be some kind of twisted human. I think Peter Jackson. So Peter Jackson was like an indie horror guy before he got Lord of the Rings.
Oh God, just like Sam Raimi.
Kinda, honestly. And so I think it was just an opportunity for a monster. So it is kind of a monstrous scene. So at its head there rode a tall and evil shape, mounted on a black horse. If horse it was, for it was huge and hideous, and its face was a frightful mask, more like a skull than a living head, and in the sockets of its eyes and in its nostrils there burned a flame. The rider was robed all in black, and black was his lofty helm. Yet this was no ring-wraith, but a living man. The lieutenant of the Tower of Barad-dûr he was, and his name is remembered in no tale, for he himself had forgotten it. And he said, I am the Mouth of Sauron.
Oh.
But it is told that he was a renegade who came of the race of those that are named the Black Númenóreans, for they established their dwellings in Middle-earth during the years of Sauron's domination, and they worshipped him, being enamored of evil knowledge. And he entered the service of the Dark Tower when it first rose again, and because of his cunning he grew ever higher in the Lord's favor. And he learned great sorcery and knew much of the mind of Sauron, and he was more cruel than any orc.
When did the tower get raised again? Oh, it would have been between The Hobbit and... No, the rebuilding of Barad-dûr.
Oh, the rebuilding?
After he fled... Is that what they're referencing? After Sauron fled from Dol Guldur? Came back to Mordor?
Let me check something real quick, because I have a different impression of this guy, but maybe this is headcanon.
Well, Google said he was over 67, Ben. So at the very least, we know he's over 67.
So for him to be a Black Númenórean, he's either a descendant of the Black Númenóreans, but if he is a Black Númenórean himself, then he would have to be quite old. Like Second Age.
But he came into Sauron's service when... I'm a little confused here. How long do Númenóreans live, too? I thought they got a few hundred years, but, like, they're not elves. They do age and die.
When the Dark Tower...
Second Age was like 1,000+ years ago, right? Well,
okay.
Because the Third Age is almost 3,000 years.
I think my headcanon made him a little bit fancier.
This is where they're getting 67 from. Barad-dûr was rebuilt in the Third Age 2951.
Yeah.
And the tower remained until it was destroyed in 3019. So he's at least 67.
He's at least 67 years old. That makes sense. So he has to be of the race. He has to be of the race of the Black Numenorians.
Okay, that brings up another question. Who the fuck are the Black Numenorians?
Well, they kind of that's the
Were they
explanation.
just Numenorians who worshipped Morgoth and Sauron?
They're Numenorians who came to Middle Earth, I think, before
God.
before Numenor was destroyed.
That is a way to describe what happened. Yeah.
They worship Sauron as a god. And he learned great sorcery. So this is an interesting point because we've talked about this before. In the letters, Tolkien mentions that men can't do magic, but he keeps referring to men becoming sorcerers. I'm kind of developing a pet theory that I don't know if Tolkien scholars would agree with me on, but I don't think men can wield magic on their own. Like, it can't come from their own being necessarily. But I'm wondering if these guys who learn sorcery, like the Witch King and the Mouth of Sauron, are they like borrowing power from the devil? Is Sauron is this like a warlock situation? Is Sauron granting them spells, essentially?
Does that happen with warlocks where the deity that's giving you your power is also manifest in the world and
It
also
can.
your boss?
It certainly can.
Huh. Neat.
Yeah. I mean, that's one.
Fortunately, we don't have a warlock in our party, so
Yeah, there's no one there dabbling in warlock stuff. But yeah. So I don't know. I've been kind of wondering that because sorcerer always seems to coincide with devil worshiper. So
yeah, he should have known that the proper nomenclature was warlock, but this was a pre 9/11 world. We hadn't yet.
It was a
set that
pre
in
5e
stone.
world. Yeah.
Yeah, because I assume those weren't in earlier editions.
What warlocks? They've been around. They've been around since at least 4. I think they've been around since 3.
Well, no one talks about 4.
Anyway, Mouth of Sauron. I think the reason they made him such a weird ghoul in the movies is because of the sorcery thing and he rides a demon horse, but they didn't want to do a whole demon horse. It was easier to have a guy with some makeup and special effect it. But in the movie, he talks with a weird accent.
He does a lot of mouth stuff.
He does a lot of mouth stuff, but he also talks with a weird foreign accent.
He recognizes that is his moneymaker. That's why he's employed by Sauron. He's called the Mouth for a reason, so he's got to really lean into that mouth role.
It's not an effective Sauron service. He showed up to the interview looking like that, and Sauron was like, "Well, I think we're done here." Yeah. No, so he talks with a weird foreign accent, and he has weird dated speech. In the book, he does have weird dated speech, and he's a little bit more snooty, knowing that he's not a monster, he's just a dude, and a smart dude at that. Is there anyone in this rout with authority to treat with me, or indeed with wit to understand me? Not thou, at least, he turned, mocking Aragorn. It needs more to make a king than a piece of elvish glass. You know, that's another interesting divergence from the movie. I'm sorry, I'm being a nerd. In the movie, he says, it takes more to make a king than a broken elvish blade, and then Aragorn commits the war crime. In the book,
you put the cart before the horse, Ben. I wanted to talk about the war crime, but
we're gonna
okay.
But in this, he says it takes more to make it, because this is the first thing he says in the book. It takes more to make a king than a piece of elvish glass. or rabble such as this? Why any brigand of the hills can show as good a following? Because in the movie, they've made such a big deal about the sword. The sword is the symbol of his kingship. In the book, he's been riding through Mordor for the last 3 days saying, Lord Elisar is here. King Elisar is here. King Elisar is here. Elisar meaning Elfstone, referring, at least in part, to the stone he wears. It's a gem. He is the Elfstone. It is the Elfstone. And that's the glass he's referring to. He's like, this symbol of your kingship doesn't mean anything to me. And any idiot can gather up 600 rubes or 6,000, less than 6,000. Oh my God, are there less than 6,000 here and you call yourself a king? And Aragorn just glares at him. And he's like, I am a herald and an ambassador and I may not be assailed. And Gandalf's like, yeah, we're not gonna hurt you, precious.
Yeah. I mean, if we see you on the field of combat, all bets are off, dude.
But then he says something interesting to Gandalf. So, then thou art the spokesman, old greybeard. Have we not heard of thee at whiles, and of thy wanderings, ever hatching plots and mischief at a safe distance? But this time thou hast stuck out thy nose too far, Master Gandalf, and thou shalt see what comes to him who sets his foolish webs before the feet of Sauron the Great. I have tokens I was bidden to show thee. He says that in the movie. To thee in especial, if thou shouldst dare come. So I like that. That shows that Sauron is aware of Gandalf by name, and he does know Gandalf's whole deal. He knows Gandalf runs around trying to fuck with him, and he's calling out the fact that Gandalf always is going around. He's always got a scheme. He's like, I'm going to get these dwarves to kill this dragon. I'm going to get this hobbit to carry this ring, and and he's calling it out. And when he throws the tokens out, the tokens are in the movie. He just throws him the chainmail shirt, horse to horse, just tosses it. In this, he gets off and he brings out a guy. In the movie,
He's on foot.
100% on a horse in the movie.
Huh.
I like a steel trap. I know these backwards and forwards. Somebody clipped together all the mistakes I've made. They bring out the mithril and elven cloak and a barrow blade. Not sting.
Yes. That's important. It was specifically Sam's blade.
Yes. But Pippin cries forward with grief, and Gandalf's like, oh my God, shut up.
God, why did I bring you? Oh, because you might die. That's
yeah. I wanted to watch you. I wanted to be there for that, Pippin. Don't worry.
I will sail back east at the correct time and watch you die.
Don't worry, Pippin, because when you die, it's just a far green country and white shores. For me, I don't know what happens to you. But anyway, the guy says, so you have another of these imps with you. What use you find in them, I cannot guess. But to send them as spies into Mordor is beyond even your accustomed folly.
Yeah. So at first, their thought is, we're screwed. Mission over. We're here to try to get them off of Frodo. But he's dead. They've got the ring. We're fucked. And then as this guy keeps talking, he's revealing like, he was a spy, and they clearly don't know. I don't even think they know that Sam, like they know Sam is there, but they don't know he is also a hobbit, because the orcs were thinking he was an elf of some kind. So, and of course that's Sam's blade. Why, if they had Sting, why wouldn't they give Sting, right?
Well, and why don't they have two elven cloaks?
Exactly. Why? Yeah. They clearly haven't gotten Sam as well, and they think Frodo is just a spy. So plans back on. I mean, It doesn't matter if it was on or off. We're here now. So,
and the emissary, like Gandalf's starting to suspect now. that they don't know as much as they think they know. Because the emissary, he's like, do you recognize these or do you deny them? And he says,
Yoink.
he says, dwarf coat, elf cloak, blade of the downfallen west, and spy from that little rat land of the Shire. Nay, do not start. We know it all well. And here are the marks of a conspiracy against us, the lords of evil. Everyone's
dare
against us. You're all in on it together. And no one answers him. Pippin's crying, and he says, he doesn't say this in the movie because I think at this point something has happened to him. But he says, he was dear to you, I see. Or else his errand is one that you did not wish to fail. And this is where he says, know that he suffered greatly at the hands of his host in the movie. Meaning he was tortured to death. We're using the past tense. But in this, they're a little smarter. They say, the errand has failed, and he shall now endure the slow torment of years, as long and slow as our arts in the great tower can contrive, and never be released, unless maybe when he is changed and broken, so that he may come to you, and you shall see what you have done. This shall surely be, unless you accept my lord's terms. And Gandalf tells him to name the terms. He never gives terms in the movie. Would have been interesting if he did, I think. Because, why else would he come out? So, the terms. They're not crazy, actually. You are going to retreat back west of the Anduin. You'll take oaths never to assail Sauron the Great in arms, open or secret. All the lands east of the Anduin shall be Sauron's forever and solely. West of the Anduin, as far as the Misty Mountains and the Gap of Rohan, shall be tributary to Mordor. And men there shall bear no weapons, but shall have leave to govern their own affairs. But they shall help to rebuild Isengard, which they have wantonly destroyed. And that shall be Sauron's, and there his lieutenant, moi, shall dwell. Not Saruman, but one more worthy of trust.
One who's got a nicer looking mouth, just
like big rectangular teeth, filed to fine points.
And Aragorn's like, oh, okay, deal. Yeah. Where do I sign?
This kind of goes to what I was saying, is now Sauron, obviously he's going to make life hell for everybody in there. It's not going to be, you're going to govern your own affairs except for the dark wizard living in a tower in the middle of your nation. But
so just another Tuesday in the U.S. Come on.
Really. But this is sort of how Sauron envisions things going. He wants to rule. And we've mentioned it before, but this is the big difference between Sauron in The Lord of the Rings and Morgoth in the Silmarillion. In the Silmarillion, Morgoth wants to eradicate all life. He hates God and creation, and he wants it gone. Sauron, not quite so strong in his hatred. He just wants everything to be the way he wants it. And your free will is going to get in the way a little bit. And I'm going to have to do things to make you be right. But Gandalf's like, well, obviously we're not going to do all that for one guy. And Pippin's sniffling in the background. And he's
well, he even brings up a good point. Can you produce, do you have this guy actually in you're keeping? So I'm pretty sure that he doesn't, right? At this point in time,
No, he doesn't.
Frodo is
And
not in Sauron's captivity.
Gandalf notices a hesitation in his response. And I think that's when Gandalf suspects. He's like, you don't know shit. You don't have shit. Everything you have, you just handed to me. And it's I've watched this in police interrogations, when I watch my true crime. When the cops fuck up and they're lying, but they're lying about a fact that the guy knows is wrong, and they reveal that they got nothing. I watched this one interrogation where the cops are like, "We found blood in her apartment. We know you killed her." And what had actually happened is the guy had kidnapped her, taken her to his apartment where he dismembered her. So the blood would have been in his apartment. Now he knows that the cop doesn't know shit. The guy did wind up going to jail forever. But
yeah. Yeah.
He didn't confess. That's the point. It was an unsuccessful interrogation for that cop. But yes, so Gandalf, he says the emissary says, "These are his terms, take them or leave them." Gandalf takes off his cloak and he shines like a Super Saiyan. And he says, "I'll tell you what, I'll take these. Mithril, yoink. Barrowblade, yoink. Elf cloak, yoink. But as for your master's terms, shove them up your ass. Let's go, boys." And they ride back to the hill. And
now, what do they not do?
Oh, they don't cut his head off. Yeah, go ahead.
They do not commit a war crime by killing an emissary under a white flag.
Yes.
Which I think was a good move, because otherwise it kind of makes Aragorn look, bad.
Yeah, I've always wondered about the response people have to that scene. And I know Tolkien would have hated the scene. I think anyone who is any kind of serious about like military drama probably doesn't like that scene. And it was cut from the theatrical release, so you could say maybe he thought better of it. But I've watched reactors react to like Gen Z watches Lord of the Rings for the first time.
Oh God!
And when he cuts the mouth's head off, they're like, "Yeah!" And then Gimli's like, "I guess that concludes negotiations," and everybody laughs. It's like, no, but guys, that's that Aragorn wouldn't do that. And maybe that's another reason they made him a monster instead of a guy, is because I guess it doesn't look as like that thing. The thing he's talking to in the movie is obviously some kind of spawn of Satan, but in the book, it is another human being, and he's absolutely right. He's under the white flag. He can't be harmed. There's reasons for this, because when you get a reputation as somebody who kills messengers, people stop sending messages.
Yeah, R.F. Kuang.
It's
not salt, it's saltpeter. What?
That was pretty bad.
That was awful. That was terrible.
But yeah, like it's like if you, a white flag is essentially, peace, surrender, whatever. It's not surrender necessarily, but it's let's discuss terms. Well, if you make it so every time you pretend to discuss terms, every time you go to discuss terms, you ambush people. People stop. They're just going to kill you to the last man. They'll never accept a surrender again.
Yeah, that's why it's also a war crime for a fake surrender.
Yeah. Yeah, so you don't want to do that for a lot of reasons. Tolkien knew that, and that's why Aragorn and Gandalf especially allow the Mouth of Sauron to return, even though they know he's just going to go back and send out the army, because there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things, and doing things the right way is very, very important. And Tolkien knows that. In the movie, when I watch him cut off the guy's head, I'm like, Aragorn wouldn't do that. That's not an Aragorn move. That's a Sauron move. You shouldn't have your bad guy commit the war, or you shouldn't have your good guy commit the war crime. But a lot of people just think it's awesome. So they have about 5 minutes to get their shit together before they're swarmed. And the wind blows. The trumpets sing. Pippin has a few moments to contemplate the rest of his short life. And he says, well, well, now at any rate, I understand poor Denethor a little better. We might die together, Merry and I, and since die we must, why not? Well, as he is not here, I hope he'll find an easier end. But now Pippin
That
does his
easy
best.
end, by the way, is not being lit on fire while still alive. That's actually a much more difficult way.
Yeah. Yeah. Little did he know Mary was going to take up cave diving. New footage came out about the Nutty Putty incident, which is like the worst cave death.
Yeah. He was like upside down for like a day or two.
He was upside down, until his
heart.
Yeah.
How your heart can't pump blood up again, like it's not designed to do that. So eventually it just gives out.
Yeah, no, they got new footage of people trying to rescue him that just came out.
Oh.
And it doesn't make you feel good.
No.
I kind of wonder, like, that's one where I'm like, would maybe the fire.
Yeah, I think
it's faster. It's going to feel like forever.
Yeah.
It's going to feel like forever, but maybe you build a nice pyre, let the smoke inhalation get you. I don't know. These are the thoughts that are going through Pippin's head right now. So he draws his sword, his blade flowing with the characters of Numenor, forged in the defeated West. It was made for just such an hour. And he thought, if only I could smite that foul messenger with it. And then I would have achieved something almost as good as Mary. Well, at the very least, I'll take some of this beastly brood with me before the end. And the orcs charge. They shoot a bunch of arrows into the defenders. And a great company of hill trolls out of Gorgoroth, taller and broader than men they were, and they were clad only in close-fitting mesh of horny scales, or maybe that was just their hideous hide. But they had round bucklers of huge black iron, and they wield giant heavy hammers. And they come like a storm breaking the line. Pippin's standing next to Baragon. Baragon gets smacked and I think knocked down. I don't know if Baragon's dead.
I also don't know if he's coming back from that one.
I forgot the character of Baragon, so this is all going to be like an exciting reveal for me. So a troll chief, a great troll chief. That is something Tolkien does whenever an important character is in trouble. It's always an important guy that beats him. A great troll chief knocks him down. And these trolls, they have a habit that Pippin's noticed in the last 30 seconds of they prefer to kill you by picking you up and biting your throat out. And Pippin's not going to let Baragon go out like that. So Pippin stabs upward and his magic blade pierces through the hide and black blood comes gushing out of it.
Just gushing out. Just a shower of blood all over Pippin.
Yeah, Pippin is covered in blood.
Just keeps coming out, too. There's a lot of blood in there.
But you always, when you're stabbing into a troll, you always want to try to like shove, because they're top heavy and they're going to tip one way or the other. Pippin didn't shove. He kind of got covered in blood and got a little squeamish. And he pulls his blade out, but then the troll collapsed forward onto Pippin. And as Pippin is slowly suffocating under a mountain of rotten troll flesh, he hears somebody screaming, "The eagles are coming! The eagles are coming!" And Pippin's like, "That's nice." And then his thought fled far away, and his eyes saw no more. End of book 5.
And then in the appendices, it says that after that happened, you could hear Gandalf for miles just saying, "Yes! Yes! We did it! He's fucking gone, boys!"
No, Pippin lives. I don't know if Baragon does. So there's still something to hang on to there. I really don't know. Can you, somebody's going to have to reshoot that final scene where they all walk into the room with Frodo, and his finger has magically grown back. And
That's it?
yeah, but that's the end. That's the end of our book. We approach now the gap between episodes. We're taking a break.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we're going to finish Return of the King. I had no idea this little mini podcast, which has become a full podcast and sometimes is longer than the regular podcast, no idea it would make it this far. I'm getting sentimental.
9 more chapters. Which is crazy because the ring is gone in 3. The war is over in 3 chapters.
Well, the scouring of the Shire still happens. We gotta deal with Sharky.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess we'll see you next time. We're gonna take a brief 3 to 4 week break. We'll be back this summer. If you want the episodes as soon as they come out, because I think we'll try to just roll right along with recording. We like to get a little bit ahead with these.
Well, next week we'll do a Chain of Command for the Patreon.
Yeah.
Then we'll get right back on to talking about Tolkien.
Yep. So if you want those as soon as they're edited, you're looking at probably getting a 3-week head start on the main feed on our Patreon at any tier. $2, $3, $10. You could get these episodes. You don't even have to wait, or you can just read the book. But then you won't get my commentary on it,
right?
You're just gonna have to wonder what Gorgoroth means. Check out the Patreon if you get the chance. Hop in the Discord. We have lively debates and memes about Lord of the Rings stuff all the time. And see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
The road goes ever on and on, down from the door where it began. Now far ahead the road is gone, and I must follow it, if I can, pursuing it with eager feet until it joins some larger way, where many paths and errands meet. And whither then, I cannot say.